Horridon is the second encounter in the Throne of Thunder. The boss will take increased damage as the fight progresses. He will gain a debuff called Cracked Shell at the end of each gate or phase. This increases damage taken by 50% to stack. Essentially, you're going to want to tank the boss in front of each door until each one has been broken. The Warlord Jalek will jump down into the fight, but more on that later. Horridon only has a few abilities, so let's get into those. Triple Puncture deals a lot of damage to the tank and gives the target a tank debuff. That increases damage taken from Triple Puncture by 10%. This will require a tank switch, but you'll want to be doing this in between gates. Double Swipe is a hard-hitting attack that does damage to all raiders in 35-yard cone in front and behind the boss, so when you see the animation, you need to move out of the way. Charge as the boss charge at a player and cast Double Swipe, so when targeted, move out of the raid and then dodge the Double Swipe. So I haven't mentioned it yet, but one tank will need to be on the boss and the other tank will need to be on the ads that spawn. So now let's go more into the ads. The Zandalari Dinomancer will spawn 1 minute into each phase, and he needs to be focused quickly. He will try and use Dino Mending, which will heal the boss for 1% every second. You're going to want to interrupt this shit. Once the ad gets to 50% health, he'll transform into Dino Form, which just increases damage dealt by 50%. When the ad gets to 50% health, it will drop an Orb of Control. This is a clickable orb that will allow someone to take control of Horridon and make him slam his jibs into the door. This will break the door and the phase will end. The raid will have 40 seconds until the next phase starts. This is when you'll want to tank switch, kill any ads, and then move the boss over to the next door. Slamming the door will give the boss the Cracked Shell debuff, which will increase the damage taken by 50%, and the effect will continue to persist and stack. The following ads will spawn during phase 1 at the Feraki door. 5 seconds into the phase, Assaultiz, Stonegazer, and Feraki Skirmisher come out, then every 20 seconds after that. A Feraki Wastewalker will join the fight after 20 seconds, and a few more will jump in 20 more seconds. The Stonegazers will stun their target for 10 seconds with Stonegaze. This of course needs to be interrupted and can also be dispelled. The Wastewalkers should be taken out quickly, and they have 2 abilities. Blazing Sunlight hits a random raider, doing decent damage and applying a dot to the target for 30 seconds. This needs to be dispelled. And Sand Trap creates a void zone that slowly expands and deals a lot of damage to anyone in it, so move your ass out of it. These next couple ads are from phase 2 and from the Gurubashi door. After 5 seconds, a Gurubashi Bloodlord will appear, and then every 20 seconds. A Gurubashi Venom Priest will spawn after 20 seconds, then 2 more 20 seconds later. These need to be killed quickly. The Venom Priest use 2 abilities. Venom Bolt Volley deals little damage to the entire raid and applies a stacking dot for 60 seconds. This is interruptible and dispellable. The ad will also spawn smaller ads called Venomous Infusions, which will also cast Venom Bolt Volley, and they use Living Poison. This is a zone of poison that appears, and it will deal a lot of damage to people standing in it. The Bloodlords will attack random raiders with an ability called Rending Charge, which is a bleed for 15 seconds. Phase 3 is the Drukhari door. After 5 seconds, a Risen Drukhari Champion and a Risen Drukhari Warrior will spawn. Then another Risen Drukhari Champion will spawn after another 15 seconds, and every 20 seconds after that. A Drukhari Frozen Warlord will spawn after a few seconds, and then 2 more after 20 more seconds. The Champions and the Warriors will apply a dot to raiders when they attack. The Frozen Warlords have Mortal Strike, which deals a lot of damage to their target and reduces healing received by 50%. The Warlords also spawn Frozen Orbs, which move slowly and cast Frozen Bolt to anyone within 8 yards. This just does some damage and slows, but these are the assholes you want to get down quickly. Phase 4 is the Ammonite door. After 5 seconds, an Aminashi Protector and Aminashi Flamecaster will spawn, then 20 seconds after that.
An Aminashi Warbear will spawn after 20 seconds, then 2 more after that.
The Protectors will just attack the target. The Flamecasters will cast Fireball, which deals decent damage to a random raider, but this is interruptible. The Warbears use Swipe, which deals good damage in front of them, but when the Warbear dies, an Aminashi Beast Shaman will spawn. They use a few abilities. Chain Lightning is just a chain lightning, except each jump will increase the damage done by 50%. Hex Confusion is a curse that hits a random raider, which gives a 50% chance for the target to hit oneself when using an ability. Dispel this when you have a second. The ad will also spawn Lightning Nova Totems. These cast Lightning Nova within 8 yards, dealing decent damage to everyone every 3 seconds. So once the Ammonite door is broken, Phase 5 will begin. After 60 seconds of destroying the door, War God Jalek will jump into the fight. Tank the boss in the middle of the room. The War God uses Bestial Cry, which deals a lot of damage to all raid members. It also applies a stacking debuff that increases damage taken from Bestial Cry by 50%. Once Jalek is killed, Horridon will rage, attacking 50% faster and hitting 100% harder. So what you'll have to do during this phase is have the off-tank tank Jalek. We recommend kind of easing them both down slowly, then just killing Jalek. Or you can just straight up burn Jalek if you think you can deal with the increased damage from Horridon. Take note that Jalek can actually be disarmed, but you'll want to save Lust for killing Jalek. So just to recap, tanks need to switch between doors, the off tank needs to pick up the ads, and the main tank needs to have the boss's side facing the door. Healers need to be looking to dispel any possible debuffs, but other than that, there are just a lot of abilities people will be taking damage from. DPS need to focus ads first, but don't worry about Horridon until the end. Make sure you're interrupting things like Stone Gaze. Everyone needs to avoid standing in void zones and avoid standing in front or behind Horridon. That's all you need to know to ride Horridon into the sunset. Good luck, adventurer.